This is a story from La La Land about the Gollywhomp Sneavil. So, you may have heard about the Gollywhomp Sneavil, but you probably don't know much about him. The Gollywhomp Sneavil lives in La La Land in Crayon Caves, which are on the which are on the outskirts, which means the edge of Yellop Forest. As you know, the Gollywhomp Sneavil has a garden full of crayon trees, because the Gollywhomp Sneavil eats crayons. He doesn't eat oatmeal or clementines or even barbecue chicken. He eats crayons of all sorts of different colors. And he grows crayons in his crayon garden. Now, crayons that grow on crayon trees are not don't grow with just water, sunlight, and soil like other plants do. They also need laughter. Most of the crayons grow on the laughter that comes from tickling, which is why the Gollywhomp Sneavil tries to tickle anyone who comes in his cave. But some crayons grow on the laughter from knock-knock jokes. Those are the rainbow crayons, and we'll talk more about those in a minute. So, because the Gollywhomp Sneavil tickles people who comes in his cave, he's lucky enough to have arms and fingers that are great for tickling. The Gollywhomp Sneavil is kind of short, kind of looks like a rounded paper bag, very flat and the same size from top to bottom. He doesn't have a lot of curves. But he has very, very long arms, with very, very long fingers on them. And he's covered with brown fur. So, in his crayon garden, like I said, there are many different colors. You may have heard of some of them, because all of the crayons not only are used to feed the Gollywhomp Sneavil, but each one has a special power. Usually these powers can only be used by the Gollywhomp Sneavil, but sometimes they can be used by other people. For example, rainbow crayons can be used by special people, like Lala has this ability, to draw things, and whatever she draws becomes real. The Gollywhomp Sneavil can also do this. Rainbow crayons are also special because if you plant a rainbow crayon, it creates a rainbow that is a passageway to another world, which is how the rainbow on Buffalorca Beach that leads to Yellwar, where Princess Nafta lives, that's where that rainbow came from. You've also heard about the golden crayons from the Gollywhomp Sneavil. These crayons, when used by anybody can use a golden crayon, it will draw a map of where that person needs to go most. You probably haven't heard about the other crayons, but he has, of course, crayons of every different color. The blue crayons only can be used by the Gollywhomp Sneavil to draw a mirror, and this mirror can let him see anywhere in the world. And if he draws it just right, it can even be a window that he can walk through to any place in the world. The other colors, red, orange, yellow, green, purple, haven't really been discovered what he uses them for, but maybe we'll find out in some other story someday. Now, to plant a rainbow crayon tree, you can't plant a rainbow crayon, because doing so would create a rainbow passageway to another world. So to plant a rainbow crayon tree, you have to plant one crayon of every different color. So that's why rainbow crayon trees are so rare, because it takes so much to plant them. They're also rare because they grow on laughter from knock-knock jokes instead of laughter from tickling. And a good knock-knock joke that produces laughter is hard to come by. There's one more thing you should know about the Gollywhomp Sneavil. The Gollywhomp Sneavil isn't originally from La La Land. You see, the Gollywhomp Sneavil is named after his father, who was also the Gollywhomp Sneavil, who lived in Yellwar. What usually happens in the life of a Gollywhomp Sneavil, well, I should say, in the life of a Sneavil, because they each have different names, like Belzora Sneavil, for example, was the Gollywhomp Sneavil's mother, is once they reach a certain age, they leave their parents and go find their own world to live in. The Gollywhomp Sneavil found his way to La La Land and even helped create some of the things in there with his crayons. His father, the Gollywhomp Sneavil, as well as Belzora Sneavil, lived in Yelwar, and they found their way there after they left their parents. There are Sneavils in every world, but they don't always show up. And that's a little bit of information about the Gollywhomp Sneavil and where he comes from and what he does.